All right. So what we're going to talk about here is installing PFSense OpenVPN server on our firewall. I put a link in Blackboard that shows this link to the guide we're going to be using to set this up. So the first step is we're going to create the OpenVPN server. So, and one of the things I want to point out is that, oops, get my clicking right. Log in. A little bit of lag there. There we go. So we're gonna add one. So what the OpenVPN server does is it's a way for somebody to download a client, remote into the firewall through the WAN port over the internet, and then access resources behind the firewall. So we are going to configure this per this guide. Right. So when you connect to the VPN, you come in as a username with a username and password. And what we're deciding here with these authentication backend options is where that username and password information is going to be stored. So let's zoom in a little bit here. There we go. So we're going to use local user access. That just keeps the username and database values on the PFSense firewall instead of keeping them in like an LDAP database or in a Radius database. So we're going to use the wizard. So we went to VPN, OpenVPN, wizards, local user. Next. Descriptive name. This is PFSense 2 OpenVPN. 2048 bits, the lifetime is fine. And what this button does is it creates a new certificate authority that's going to be used by the PFSense. So let's do Idaho, city is Boise, organization is my company. Okay. Add new CA. Okay. Oh. It probably didn't like that dash. So we're going to call it OpenVPN server. Okay, and create it. There it goes. All right, so the next step, come over here. We did that. Created the new certificate authority. Okay. Oops, went too far. Back up a little bit. We did that screen. Now we're going to do this one. So let's zoom in on this picture here. It's going to be WAN UDP 1194. Okay, so let's do that. WAN UDP 1194. Cryptographic settings. Too far. Go. TLS, check, 2048, AES, SHA-1, no hardware. All right. TLS, check, 2048, AES, SHA-256. So the tutorial is old. SHA is a hashing algorithm. SHA-1 is no longer used. So SHA-256 is perfect. Okay, so we got that. So now let's go look back at this setup. No hardware crypto. Yep, we don't have any accelerating hardware to accelerate our cryptographic calculations. So the tunnel settings. So we create a subnet for them to be terminated on. Okay. And this is where they're going to end up. So the tunnel network you want to use, it should not already exist. This is a network that the users are going to be put on that doesn't already exist. So let's pick something like 10.0.0.0/24. The local, we want them on the DMZ. So we're going to allow them to VPN tunnel and land in our DMZ so that they can manage the web servers. Okay. Let's see what else. Compression, omit preference, and then the rest is blank. Okay. Preference, the rest is blank. Okay. Looks like a check. Everything else is blank, and then none. For dynamic IP should be checked. Everything else is blank. Oh wait, the topology should be subnet 1 IP per client. Subnet 1 IP per client. Okay. That was none. Looks good. All right. So now we go next. And we do want to check that box to create automatic firewall rules, I'm sure. So let's just verify that. So we want a firewall rule and OpenVPN. Those should both be checked. Firewall rule, OpenVPN, next. Finish. That is all there is to it. That is now set up. So now we got to Wizards complete. Yep. Now we got to create a user with a certificate. So remember, the firewall to allow the VPN users in is going to use the local user database that is on this firewall. So far, we only have our administrator. Let's add Troy. So we're going to add, his username is going to be Troy. We're going to set his initial password. His full name is Troy D. Taylor. We're not going to set an expiration date. We could make him part of admin. Yeah, let's do that. Troy's going to be a pretty important user. Not only is he going to be a VPN, he's going to be admin. This is important. You got to check this box to create a user certificate, and then you got to give it a descriptive name. So we're going to call it Troy D. Taylor. I'm going to take the period out there, and I'm going to take the spaces out. And this is the descriptive name that you'll see on a later screen for this VPN client. So you got to check this box, and you got to put a value in here, which could be their username. And then you go save. So let's just verify that. You check the box, and you put in a description. All right, check the box, put in a description. That's good. And then this step, installing the client export package, we're going to do that next. So we go save. We've created the user. There's our user. So now we got to install the OpenVPN package, and that's in the package manager. We come here, we go to available packages, and we do a search, and we put in OpenVPN. And we search for it. and we find it and we install it. And we confirm. And then we wait for this to complete. It should update right there. There it goes. Now, if this doesn't work, it's because you don't have internet access from the firewall. So if you did the previous steps correctly, this should have internet access, and this should be able to go out on the internet and grab the packages it needs to install. So this is installed. It's step 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4. Success. All right, it's done. We installed that package. And the last step is the client export utility and downloading the packages. So let's just check this image out here. You're going to go to the client export utility, and you're going to set these settings. So let's do that. OpenVPN. Client export utility. Server blah, 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 server interface automatic. Use X509. Does that sound right? Automatic, use X509 and no other checkboxes. Scroll down. Save as draft. There we go. And then the last step is right here is where all the software is for your user. So you download the current Windows installer for 7, 8, 2012, etc. And then you send them that file after you download it. That's the installer. And you also send them the configuration. So let me close this. And yeah. So you send them that executable, and then you send them the configuration. So you'd send them this inline configuration for most clients. You'd send these 2 files to the user that you want to access this firewall externally and initiate a VPN connection. So that is how you configure OpenVPN server on the PFSense firewall. And you can also, that one step created some firewall rules. So let's go make sure those showed up. Firewall rules. And look, there it is. The OpenVPN wizard created this firewall rule for your WAN interface on your PFSense firewall. And that concludes how to set it up. If you have any questions, shoot me an email.